Aliens exist and President Trump knows about it. That's according to Israel's former space security chief. In an interview with an Israeli newspaper, he said the aliens have been waiting until today for humanity to develop and reach a stage where we will understand in general what space and spaceships are. NBC News chief global correspondent Bill Neely explains this one.
Hi, Alison. Well, this is quite a story, and it comes from the man who headed Israel's space security program for nearly 30 years. Chaim Eshed is making the extraordinary claim that the United States and Israel have been in contact with a group of aliens for years, not immigrants, but extraterrestrials. He has called them the Galactic Federation of Aliens, and he says President Trump is aware of the existence of these aliens and had been on the verge of revealing their secrets, he claims, but was asked not to do so by the Federation in order to prevent what he calls mass hysteria. Well, the retired general says the US and Israel have kept it from the public because, quotes, humanity isn't ready and the aliens don't want to reveal themselves until humanity can evolve, he says, and understand what space really is. Well, the good news is that he claims an agreement has been reached between the US government and the aliens, a contract to do experiments here. There's also, he says, a secret underground base on Mars where there are American and alien representatives. Now, this former head of a branch of Israel's defense ministry is 87. He was very well respected, at least until now. And he said all this in an interview with an Israeli newspaper in Hebrew, but it's really taken off after parts of it were published in English by the Jerusalem Post today. He says he's come forward now in the hope that his news will be accepted as true. He notes that if he'd made these claims 5 years ago, he would have been hospitalized, but now he says, I've got nothing to lose. Well, so far, President Trump has not tweeted about this, though remember a year ago he did set up the Space Force as the fifth branch of the US Armed Forces. Well, we did ask the White House, the Department of Defense and Israeli officials to comment. So far, they have not responded to the NBC News request, and I wonder if they ever will.
In space, the United States is going to do Colonel Glenn proud. We are finally going to lead again. You see what's happening? You see the rockets going up left and right. You haven't seen that for a long time. Very soon we're going to Mars. Space is a war-fighting domain.
Our adversaries have transformed space into a war-fighting domain.
Just like the land, air, and sea. We may even have a Space Force. Develop another one. Space Force. We have the Air Force, we'll have the Space Force. You know, I was saying it the other day because we're doing a tremendous amount of work in space. I said, maybe we need a new force. We'll go with the Space Force. And I was not really serious. And then I said, what a great idea. Maybe we'll have to do that. That could happen. Oh, that fake news. So think of that. Space Force. Because we're spending a lot. We're way, way behind. And we're catching up fast. So fast that nobody even believes it.
Since the days of Ronald Reagan.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order.
We must have American dominance in space. What was once peaceful and uncontested is now crowded and adversarial.
We too must now recognize the necessity of a space force. Pirates threaten the open seas, and the same is possible in space. Pirates threaten the open seas, and the same is possible in
Nobody
space.
even believes it.
In 1974, I was introduced to the late Dr. Wernher von Braun, in the U.S., the father of rocketry. He said to me, "Carol, you will stop the weaponization of space." And we have to prevent the weaponization of space because there is a lie being told to everyone that the weaponization of space is now first being based upon the evil empire, the Russians. There are many enemies, he said, against whom we're going to build this space-based weapon system. The first of whom was the Russians, which was existing at that time. Then there would be terrorists. Then there would be third world countries. Now we call them rogue nations or nations of concern. Then there would be asteroids. And then he would repeat to me over and over. And the last card, the last card, the last card would be the extraterrestrial threat. And now we hear on the news just today, this week, that they've slid in another enemy. Only this time we're going to protect our satellites. In other words, we have to have some reason to spend these trillions, to waste these dollars on a space-based weapon system, and they're all lies.